Done my morning centering, balancing, grounding exercises. Done some yogic postures, some breathing, awareness breathing exercises. Breathing in to a certain count. Could be 4, 5, 6. Could be more if you have a large intake capacity, and then breathing out, doubling the count. Breathing in, so 1, 2, 3, 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out. And what that does is it sends a signal to your brain and your vagus nerve that everything is okay. And it's good to understand that there's a continual process. Like right now, um, in many ways, I'm attempting to influence you. And you go, oh, he's attempting to influence me. And I go, yeah, the the whole kind of external world thing is trying to influence you so that you move in a particular direction. So you do particular things so that you buy particular things that others are selling. And I'm not selling. And I'm not buying. So, but you could say, well, why have you done however 400 whatever videos in the past 10 months, something like that? We're in November, so yeah, 11 months. Why have you done 400 videos, approximately 390, who knows? Because I was asked to. I was told that the people going through this mass transition in consciousness on the planet might be able to use the help that I was given by the people that asked me to do these videos. And who are these people? They're my friends. They're my friends on other levels. They're my helpers and guides. They're my driving instructors because it took some extra training to be here and be helpful. I can see, apologize. I don't know why that the battery is getting low. So sorry for the clicking, and I might start again, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just keep going and going and going. It's incredible to me how much training that a person can go through to get to the awareness of oneself. Just who is this self and why is it so inclined to heal the world? And you know, it's a choice. I mean, it's a choice to move in the direction we move. And I've been attending school in the dream world for at least 14 years. And in the first school, which was which I knew as the School for Delinquent Shaman, and so you can guess what that meant. Um, I was led to understand that I had a tendency to go rogue, and a tendency when I got in physical form to feel that I knew better than those who were not in physical form. Because how can you know what's going on Earth if you're not in the body in the earth? And those who are not in bodies who are helping this process can actually know and see a whole lot more. They can't, you know, they can't control um, what works out, nor do they specifically want to. They're here to help, and they're teaching me to help, and I am in a physical form. So people could say, well, then you can speak for those of us in physical form because you're in physical form. And I would say, yeah, I can speak. I can talk about experiences. I can talk about things I've been taught. Might help you help yourself. Because really, it comes down to getting to that place, more and more to that place when we're inside ourselves, recognizing that we are the help we needed. We have this external source of help. I mean, it seems external, but when we connect to it, it's internal. So the voices that I hear, I hear inside my head or in my consciousness. And I've heard them ever since I was small. So from a very young age, I was being guided to experience the world around me through my family, through other families, through how other parents treated their children, to how some families I would go into felt very safe to be there, like I could just be myself and I was accepted. Other families felt like we have these very specific rules, and if you don't follow these rules, you'll be rejected. And it's like, oh, you're safe here, be yourself. We have rules about who you can be, and follow those rules or be rejected. So be yourself, feel safe. Be who we want you to be or be rejected. And here we stand in the middle of these two spaces, not wanting to be rejected and wanting to feel safe. And so for some, the whole experience of not wanting to be rejected probably stemming from a point of rejection, a very painful rejection. Say, um, say one committed oneself to a marriage and committed oneself more fully to the marriage by having children. And then at a certain point, one of the people decided they didn't want to be committed to this marriage, and they found someone else to be with, and they left. And they left and went off with someone else and left the person behind without a commitment to a person, or had lost that commitment to a person, but still had children to be present with, if that was the choice, and to assist to get through this intensity of all of them. It's the one person escapes, but the other ones have this intensity and they have to work with it. And if they feel their environment is safe to be themselves, they can work with that. If they feel like there's rules they have to follow, behavior, or they'll be rejected, then they do that. And we're all in this period of time of wanting a world that feels safe for us to be ourselves. And really being ourselves can take so many different looks and appearances and feelings, and the tightness in the body that many of us have felt in our lives has to do with not feeling like if we are ourselves, we'll be accepted. So this is an interesting posture I find myself going into, because as I tune into the pain of the world, because it gives me information, I feel like, people feel just burdened by trying to conform to a world that's very restricted and limited in terms of who you can be in order to be accepted, and maybe not even feel safe. But I can tell you that the safety starts off, if you ever got it outside yourself and felt safe, that's where it occurred. But the experience of it was inside yourself. The environment of safety was outside yourself, but the experience of safety was inside yourself. My shoulders are a little in pain because of that energy that I just worked. The place of safety is in you. And notice, if you're feeling it, notice where you're feeling it, that place of safety. And it may be a different place for each one of us, may feel a very different place of safety, because the place of safety is where you keep it and have kept it. So you could always have a place that was safe. And some people you'll see just go inside that place of safety and just disappear from the world, and they sometimes are like this. And as long as they can put the world outside themselves, they can feel that safety. And whatever it is, one can just more and more disconnect from this world outside themselves to be in that place of safety. And I would say this is good. This is a good idea. If you can't come out of that place, if you're locked into that place and you can't come out, and no, it's not safe, it's not safe, it's not safe, then that's what you're working with. But I would say, if you're listening to this and you're probably not a child, because, yeah, but if you are, that's fine too. And you might be in an adult body, but very much be a child. But if you're listening to this, one part of my training, and I would say 7 years of my training, was about watching what I say. And in that period of time, I was directly being trained by some higher level beings that refer to themselves as the Hathors. They actually said it like Hathor, but I say Hathor because that's the way people understand it. But if you want to think of them as Hathors, you can think of them as Hathors. But I would say, I'm just no good at this. I'm just no good at this. I'm just no good at this. And the Hathors would say to me something like, do you wish to continue to not be good at it? And I would say, no, I'd like to be able to be good at it. And then they'd say something like, then stop saying, I can't be good at this. I can't understand this. Because that's a spell on yourself. And you can reverse any spells that were put on you. Might have been a spell, you'll never amount to anything. And you went, wow, bummer. I really had some plans. But if I'm never going to amount to anything, I may as well just give up those plans, those goals. You might have had the spell on you, you're just stupid. That's so stupid. You just do the most stupid things. And you go, that's a bummer. I really was hoping to be smart, but I guess I'm stupid. And then if you feel the energy of that and you release it, you go, okay, I've shifted something. And if you did release some of that energy, you shifted it without saying the opposite. Sometimes all we need to do is acknowledge the spell that's been cast on us. And I would say, this is a Saturday, November 9th, and it might be, well, it is a day of change, as every day is. But you might be able to be supported in the change by understanding, according to the Mayan calendar and the Mayan people, and this is leading into a good thought. I'll see if I remember to get back to the calendar. Do I want my crooked eyes on? I think my crooked eyes. the the construct that I was given, and I think I'll just show this to you while I talk about the construct. And the construct that I was given is that the form we create, the form we project into the world, has to do with the vibration that we hold inside ourselves. So, if we had at the time, unresolvable loss, the loss of a loved one. So I'll just use the example of my Aunt Celie. My Aunt Celie, she was our Aunt Celie, but she was actually my dad's aunt. But because she was the youngest of the daughters, my father's mother and her sisters, because Celia was the youngest, she was closer in age to my dad. So to help us understand, they said, well, this is your aunt. And so Aunt Celie they lived in Beverly Hills or Hollywood. There were certain things for images of a small child. They had a circular driveway. They had a swimming pool. They had this beautifully designed house, and all the furniture was just really tastefully done. She and my uncle owned a lumber business that my dad had come down to go to work for from Canada. So they had sponsored him so he could take his family and leave Canada and come down to the Los Angeles area because he had a job. And he wanted to get out of Canada, and I won't even go into that. But Aunt Celie took me aside as a small boy, and I always go back to 6 or 7 years old. That's when my memories started to come in stronger. Aunt Celie took me into a room and closed the door, and she sat down in a chair, and I was standing so she'd be closer to my height. She put her hands on my shoulder, and she said these words to me. As a little boy, I know how difficult your life is. Just being heard, just being seen, just having someone else know the pain that you were in as a child. And she said, just know, I will always be here for you. I just said these words to you, but I said them with the feeling that those words produced in me. There is someone in the world here for me. I am safe. Even if my environment didn't feel like it was, I was safe. I had one person. And a year later, she died. And I felt like it was over. My one safe person died. It was over. And years later, when I was studying really years later. So I was 36 and I was studying neurolinguistic programming. And I went to a conference and I was in a workshop with a really wonderful woman who was teaching people how to access things. And she said, write, write a story about a person that made you feel safe. So I wrote this story of my Aunt Celie. And then I was to read the story, but the grief had never gone away. And as I read the story, the grief came out. And it poured out, and it poured out, and it poured out. And I came to a realization that she had never left me. She had remained watching over me the whole time. She'd guided me. She'd show me how to find things that I needed. Was she imaginary? Or was she just not in a body? And even if she was imaginary, our imaginary friends. I had a group of them as a child, and they weren't, I didn't make them look like humans or monsters or anything. They just had really nice voices. Kind of like my voice is for me and maybe for you, but these beings just had such kind, soft voices. And they would just tell me how to deal with the situation I was in. And it was always like, just accept it and release the tension of it while protecting yourself. Just protect yourself. If there's no one protecting you, protect yourself. Take yourself on as that child that needs an adult. Imagine what it would be like to have had an adult that was watching over you, and then be that adult that watches over you. And then when you get really good at it, be that adult that watches over others. Emotions, here they come. And when they come, don't get lost in them. Just note them and release them. So yesterday, as I was walking along Main Street, downtown Ann Arbor, I had bought a couple small gifts for the young couple who are housing me. And I was carrying it in one of those bags, that, the little brown, kind of fancy looking brown bags. I was carrying it, and I said to my friend Kim, wow, I feel like a tourist because I lived in Ann Arbor for so long. And all of a sudden, I felt like a tourist carried this little bag of goodies along. And I came across a man in a wheelchair. And the man I was walking with is a Vietnam veteran. And he can't hear because he was not warned to get away from the cannon when it was shot. And so it kind of blew up his eardrum. And his hearing never actually came back. And pretty certain they sprayed various chemicals to defoliate the jungle, to kill the jungle, so that they could see the enemy. But they sprayed this stuff on their own soldiers, figuring they weren't plants, so it wasn't going to harm them. Turns out it actually did harm them. So I'm walking along with this man that I have loved and have worked with and have lived with for 20 years. And I'm taking him downtown to bring back all those memories, good memories of his time. He was pointing out all the buildings he had worked in. In his 10 years of carpentry, he worked for a company called O'Neill, and he'd say, "See that building?" He said, "I worked at that top floor." And he said, and I was terrified of being that high up in the building. And when they'd want me to do something outside, I would just like quiver because there was a fear of heights. And as he was describing that, I was helping release those energies. And that's what I've been doing with him since I got here, to see if we can release those old fear energies. And I've been doing this for 20 years, but sometimes it just takes a while to get into these core things. But he's having this day, and he's talking about what a great day he's having, and thanking me for just taking him downtown, which he doesn't feel like he can do on his own anymore. Finding a parking place, the traffic, all the stuff that's in a downtown. And so I felt capable of doing that. So I took him downtown, and we went into some stores that he wanted to look at rocks, and I wanted to look at books, and we just did those things. But we were walking along the street, and we came across a man in a wheelchair. So see if you can feel the feelings I'm working with, because you might feel yourself working with those feelings. So just notice what you're feeling. And I'm going to suggest, and you could feel it or not feel it, I'm going to suggest that the feelings will be along your chest and into your throat. And this man looked up and said to me, "Would you possibly have some spare change for for a Vietnam veteran?" And I looked in his eyes. And that could have been me in a wheelchair, sitting on a lovely street in the sun, asking people who could help me. And I immediately just went in my wallet because I carry cash, and I took some cash out and I said, absolutely. And I handed him some money. And Kim looked at me like, you don't do this. These are street people. You just, you know. And I looked at him. I said, he's a Vietnam vet. And Kim went, oh, and he grabbed his wallet, he pulled out a bill, and he handed it to him. They didn't need to say any more. Kim was there. He just lost his hearing. This man lost his ability to walk. The man made this eye contact with me. And he said, this is so wonderful. And I said, I know. I'm here with you, having the experience. I said, where do you live? And he told me. And he said, it's really nice. It's a place that my Social Security is enough for me to live there, so I can live in a house. So I think it's an apartment, but I live in a place, and there's people there, and I can have interaction with them. How many of these war-damaged people are there? And there are less and less all the time, because there's something that I heard. Something that I heard that there, and this may not be accurate, and it may not be true, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it anyway. I said there's an average of 20 veterans that take their life a day. And we could ask the question, how did it go so terribly wrong that the people that were drafted, they were told, you don't have a choice. You're going to go to this place, you're going to go to this place, and you're just going to fight in the jungle. Get it? You're a young kid. You just finished playing high school football. And now you're going to some place way away from where you grew up, Iowa. And it can be overwhelming how much need there is in the world. And it can be, I'm just going to use the words, terribly uncomfortable for some of us. Probably any of you watching this video, it might be terribly uncomfortable for you to see that degree of discrepancy in a town that just so obviously has so much money, but not enough to care for these damaged ones who have such a spirit. Like, I don't always give money to people that ask me for it, but I oftentimes am, without them asking for it, I'm oftentimes told to give someone I see some money. And then I do. But when I looked in this person's eyes and I saw myself, and I could see myself in everyone, but I saw myself, and I'm helping another self, my friend who's Vietnam veteran, watching him help himself, a Vietnam veteran. And we're all helping ourself and ourself by healing ourself. So I'm gonna put on my smart glasses, because if I put on these glasses, people go, he looks kind of stupid. So I'll tell you, all it takes to completely let go of being stupid, if you can afford it, is a pair of $30 glasses. And all of a sudden, you might appear to look very intelligent. Maybe not, but it might be the hoodie or the fact I've got, sleep hair, which I felt fine about. Okay, Mayan calendar. We'll just jump into that. We've come through quite a period of time. The yellow sun is completions. It's number 20 in the cycle of the kin of the earth. And so the completion came on November 4th, Monday, November 4th. And the red dragon is birth of new energies, new consciousness, new energies coming in. That was Tuesday, November 5th. Wednesday was the white overtone wind, and the white wind is guided by heart. Matter of fact, I think all the whites. So there's like 5 reds, 5 blues, 5 yellows, 5 whites. I think all the whites are guided by heart. Thursday, the 7th, was a blue rhythmic night, and that was guided by abundance. Yesterday, Friday, was a yellow resonant seed. And that is guided by intelligence. And there was one thing, because my stepdaughter is a yellow seed, I read this to her yesterday. And I want to read it to you today. The 3 words are targets, flowering, and awareness. And there's a quote by one of the Mayan teachers the Venerable Dhyani Yuahu. I just love that, Yuahu. And he said, and it was a yellow seed day, so it was about what are we seeding? What are we putting into our garden, our world? He said, seed thoughts of peace. No matter what's going out there, in here, seed thoughts of peace. Moistened by love. This is where it gets a little preeclampsy. Tilled by right actions. Weeds of discord pulled by diligent action. The harvest shall be abundant joy. Sustaining future generations. Okay. I mean, this whole area right in through here is related to the heart. So if you felt something release, that's because your seed's being moistened by love. Let all your seeds be moistened by love. Let all the people in your life be moistened by love. May you be the safety you've always been looking for. May you be that for yourself. May I be that for you. May my words help you through every difficulty you find yourself having. Not faking it. Not pretending. If you're just like me, you'll have this great life. Just sign up for my Patreon account, and I'll give you some information that'll make you so much money. Like, maybe that's happening. But my suggestion is, feel free to become a follower to me. And they say just $5 a week, just $5 a week, or just $5 a month, or whatever. Whatever you'd be willing to give to me, pick out someone that looks like they might utilize some love, a $5 love gift, and just do it once a month. Walk up to somebody's having a really difficult time, and say, here's $5 of love. I want you to have it. Just give it to them. They'll just go, whoa, what just happened? Yeah. So today, interesting enough, when I'm talking about this difficulty in life and finding someone that was safe for me and having them die, and which is actually, that part of it should have been done tomorrow, but today is the day of the red serpent. So I'm a red dragon. So the red serpent becomes the dragon when it gets wings. But the red serpent is about survival. It's about life force and instinct. When you just feel like, oh, this doesn't feel right, pay attention. And then, okay, now it feels right. The red serpent represents our primal nature, our instinctual body wisdom, our sense of things, our sensuality, creativity, and passion. Serpent reminds us to center in our earthly vehicles, honoring them as incredible sensual mechanisms, recognizing that our bodies offer us infinite opportunity for experience. They are living temples. I suggest you take that in. I'm going to. This is a living temple. And if it is a living temple for you, you take that temple with you everywhere. And you keep it clean, you keep it functional. They are our one and only home for this lifetime. As our partners in life, our bodily vessels invite us to nourish ourselves, to ground, to breathe, to stretch. Sounds like my morning. Breathe, stretch, move, dance, feel, discover, physically express, and above all, sense. To be creatures, not intellects. Creatures, not intellects. That spine, that serpent goes through the whole body, relates to our Kundalini energy awakening. It relates to our creativity, to us discovering why we came here and what we came here to be and to do, and feel enough power to just be yourself. Connect your deep self, connect your higher self, connect your highest self. That is you, and if you be yourself, you'll be aligned with everything. Dance, feel, discover, physically express, and above all, sense. Sense yourself as the creature that you are, not the intellect. Follow the body. It has a language all its own. Intimately connected to our soul. Our serpent bodies and its senses are gateways to that which lies beyond the body, offering themselves as a conduit to access this greater wholeness, as a tool and a guide. Our bodies are our allies in self-intimacy, renewal, and empowerment. Life force is our vitality. Every moment, the decisions we make impact our store of life force. It's ours to cultivate and care for one of the most powerful sources of life, our Kundalini. Our inner serpent fire ignites our divine potential residing within. The serpent reminds us to merge our primal life force energy with our higher visionary eagle. Higher visionary eagle mind to become balanced and fully alive as a feathered serpent. This allows us to bring holistic insight into matters of survival and creation, assuring we see what's near and far. That has to be the longest video I have ever made. 54, well, now 55 minutes of monologue. But I remained present. You can remain present. You can take this in small doses if you wish. All the changes you make are up to you. Sometimes all we need to do is have someone tell us, you're doing a great job being yourself. Keep it up. Love yourself. Trust yourself. Enfold yourself. Respect yourself. Care for this body that you live in. And with the seeds you plant, moisten them with love. That seems like enough. It's been my privilege to be with you today, and let's keep going. Tell me what you need, and if I can talk about it, I will. 5 more months till the field that Abrahamana, the soul of the earth, set into motion on March 23rd of 1997 for a 28-year cycle of cleansing completes March 24th of 2025. It's less than 5 months. Do the work, stay the course, be your own safety. If you find someone else that feels safe for you, accept that person's safety. If you don't instinctually feel that, don't do it. Trust yourself, support yourself, and find like-minded others that can be present with you as you are. And just yesterday, I was invited by my dear friend who has loaned me the car that has been allowing me to get from here to there, here and there, and has invited me to an open house. And it's on the computer, so I can't access it right now. I might put it in the comments section. But an open house for a new spiritual center that's opening up in Dexter, Michigan, one of the places I lived, in 2 different places. But a spiritual center of healing is open up. And my client of 40 years, it's hard to even believe that I could say that, but I can. My client of 40 years, this is the place she's now calling her spiritual home. And it's just opening, but she's known these, I think it's 2 women who are opening up this center, and there are other people involved, but they've been building this structure to house a place of healing. And she has told them about me. Whoa, I don't know what she's told. But I'm going to this open house, which I think is going on today and tomorrow. And then the ribbon cutting ceremony is occurring Monday, because Monday is the 11th. And I believe this is the 11th month. And the numbers 1111 are the numbers of awakening. So if you see them on a digital clock, you go, huh, what was that? And you see it again. Huh? How come I keep seeing 1111? It's the number of awakening. And so they're ribbon cutting, opening up their space on November 11th at 11:11. That's when they're cutting the ribbon. This is my reality, all of a sudden appearing in Dexter, Michigan. I'm sure in the future I'll be speaking there. I'll be doing healing classes, Who knows? But I feel like it's safer to go out in the world now because I've done the work. There was so much just reconstruction that's been going on over the last 5 years. Just really working with nature, working in the woods, discovering who I am underneath that personality that was just surviving in the world. Okay, now I'm sure we've made it. We made it 60, and now let's go.